Thank y'all for being here. It brings a tear to my eye. Thank y'all for being here. I really appreciate it. It has not been a wonderful last couple days, to say the least. But it's gonna be okay. And I've gotten some much needed rest. Some much needed rest. I'm doing good. Well, to be honest, I got some things going on in the background that are not good, but I'm here, I'm living, I'm breathing, so I'm doing good. And I did. I took some rest. And I also kind of, I was trying to push myself to like get all the things done. Good morning, sweeties. Good morning, Toya. Like to try to get all the things done. And as you guys know, I took Monday off to kind of just sleep in, rest, and you know, take it a little easy on myself. And I'm glad I did. This year, my son's not doing dance this year. It's not in the game plan to do it, so we don't have that rush. And so I'm feeling a lot better about like how things are going and like my ability to manage everything I need to manage. So I'm definitely feeling better about that. He's gonna do football, and then he'll transition in the basketball, and then that'll be it. But I'm glad you guys are here. How was your weekend? How is your week going so far? Man, I'm gonna keep fighting the good fight. I'm gonna keep fighting the good fight. Let me take a deep breath. Let's get into it. How was y'all's weekend? Or how's your week going? It's Wednesday. How's your week going? Couple things. It has not been easy for me to create and push out new content, but I've been doing it. I knew for sure. I was like, man, yesterday was the day where I was like, am I not going to get content out today? But I did. If you're in the school, you know we are doing the power of one, post one time a day, just one time. And as with all challenges, things slow, people get busy. And I knew that going in, but I hope that I could be an example to you that no matter what's going on in your life, just keep really trying to find space to do what you set in your heart that you want to do. All right. Good morning. Good morning. All right. We're halfway through the week. All right. And I want to talk a little bit about a couple things that I really feel like can help us incorporate the soft sell. Okay. We are creating content every day. We're posting it, but oftentimes there's like this space in between. Oftentimes there's this space between doing a hard sell, what we call a hard sell, and then doing a soft sell, right? So you got a hard sell where you ask for the thing, you ask for the sell, or you can do a soft sell, right? So what I want to talk about is the power of just being authentic and telling your stories, right? Because when you can tell that story and tell that transformation, people can connect with you more. All right. So like for me, I'm married, right? I'm 100% not doing all the things I need to do. And I haven't always shown up the way I should show up. That's just the truth. My partner would probably agree and say the same, right? So when you can step into spaces and tell those truths, you can show people that you're an imperfect person, because we're all just a series of imperfect people trying to make the most of this thing called life, right? So you got to find space to speak your truth, right? Now, what does that have to do with a soft sell? A whole lot, right? Because when people feel like they can connect and you can be raw and honest with them, if your brand is front facing, then they're more likely to trust you and your brand, right? It's a weird space to be in because, people tend to follow the well manicured brands, the brands that have the picture perfect background. They showcase the life we desire, right? And that's one way to do this. But the other way to do this is to tell the truth. Tell the truth. So that's one of my truths. I've mentioned this before, though, right? This isn't the first time I've mentioned this, because when I show up, I try to be realistic. Everything in my house is not perfect. I got a messy mantle back there. It's not perfect. And so I think that when you're talking about selling people softly, right, you've got to find some space to be authentic. Now, if you took my class, you know that we talked about stories and how on social media, your stories are actually opportunities to speak some truths. All right? And so I'm going to give y'all a couple of truths today. Here's one. People don't buy from bullet points. They don't buy from our ChatGPT product descriptions, our emoji-fied product descriptions. Good morning. People buy because of the way you make them feel. Okay? And that's just the truth. Good morning. People buy based on how you make them feel. All right. And sometimes if you make them feel afraid, they purchase out of fear. Sometimes they purchase from inspiration or connection. Sometimes they purchase out of a sense of urgency. Right? So even though this is hard to talk about, it's important to speak from a space of authenticity when you can. Now, if you're a faceless brand, no. But if you are the face of your brand, it's a good time to take stock of who you are and where you are in your business and really try to work to connect through micro stories. Good morning. Telling those tiny little stories around your business or your life or the mistakes you've made or the wins you've had so that your audience can feel more connected to you. All right. This idea is, it pushes us away from this buy now. And it's about telling these short, real micro stories. And it shows your audience that you understand their problem, that you've authentically been there before, and that you have something that can help. All right. So for me, if I was doing, I don't do this, but if I was doing a lifestyle brand that my target audience was married couples, then I would talk about this is the moment I realized our marriage had taken a dark turn. It may be important to tell that story so that my audience knows that I'm not speaking from this perfect space of what a marriage can be, but I'm speaking from a real place. Speaking from a real place, right? Otherwise, you're painting a pretty picture while you're never actually getting to the core of the person's problem. All right? When people can see themselves in your story, they naturally want a solution. Okay? Now, in the school community, I'm going to give you this framework. All right? So I'm going to give you this framework right inside the community so that you have it. Good morning, Whitney. Good morning, Toya. Good morning, Kelly. I hope you guys are doing well. Tell your stories, man. Over the next couple months, I'm going to have some big ones to tell. I'll tell you that much. But I'm going to share them with you because I think I'm going to really try to keep going, regardless of the challenges that are in my way or the challenges that make me feel like I can't do it. I'm going to still keep trying to show up. But it's not easy. It's very, very hard. I don't think people always realize that it's hard. But I know that I'm on the cusp of something. I know I'm right where I'm supposed to be. And so I'm going to just keep working at it. But I'm also finding ways to effectively tell that story in my business. So as I grow, as I improve, people better understand that the strategies do work. But you may have to be a little bit vulnerable to help people see that those strategies do work. All right? All right. So to that point, there is a way that you can tell these stories. We call it like a micro, like a structure. Okay. You're going to set the scene, 1 or 2 sentences max. All right. Set the scene. All right. Then once you've set the scene, you'll share a shift. What happened? What was the aha moment? Right. Then you'll show the result, the change, the win, the relief. And then you're going to invite some type of connection. You're going to ask a question, share a resource, or even direct them to your offer. All right. That's how that micro storytelling works. All right. And it's actually, if you do it from a place of authenticity, then it's one of the most honest ways you can show up for your business. It really is. Because there's so much smoke and mirrors, right? So many people showing the lifestyle, but they're not necessarily showing like all the struggle it took to get there. You know, they're really good at advertising the outward perfect life now, but they're not doing that on the they're not doing it along the way, right? So you don't get to witness the struggle, or they don't tell you the struggle at all. They just tell you about the success, right? So make sure you're present for both of them, all right? And make sure you're telling both parts of that story. I'm gonna give you an example. This is fingers crossed. This is what I hope to share. All right. So when this month ends and we finish this challenge, because I'm going to commit. All right. So here's an example of how you can use the micro formula framework to help you just become more authentic about telling your own stories to your audiences. So here's mine. This is the one I'm crossing my fingers and hoping I can share. Last month, I was staring at my Instagram drafts, overthinking every post. Then I decided to post one time every day. Once a day, no perfection needed. Now, my engagement is up, fill in the blank %, and I've connected with more clients, followers, and grown my community. Who else is ready to stop hiding their ideas? All right. So that would be my micro story. That's the one I'm crossing my fingers that I'll be able to tell. That over the course of these 31 days, I've had the kind of growth, a transformation, and it's already, I'm seeing it. Every platform that I've posted consistently of, my stats have all started to turn up. So I know I'll be able to. But that's a micro story. Okay? I'm giving you 2 examples. If your brand was to support married couples, then talking about the wins and losses and the transformation of your marriage would be something that would be required, right? Because so many couples show up with a perfect picture, but they're not really rolling back and telling the truth. All right. We call this the soft sell. All right. It really has more to do with connecting and helping people feel connected. In the long run, that allows you to establish that client connection over a long period of time instead of a quick sale, and they don't think about you anymore. Okay. These are great for like reels, TikToks under 30 seconds, story captions, even networking. I want to pause and talk about networking. So even in your networking, all right, when you do those networking conversations, being able to tell short, transformational stories allows people to connect to you. So if you've ever had a networking event and you struggle with that, just know, yeah, yeah, tell your story. All right. I'll give you another example. Last year in June, I was staring at the scale at over 220 pounds. I realized my life had to change for the better through pairing walking, connecting live with my community. I've been successfully able to consistently exercise and grow my business so that now I have a community of over 200 people, and we talk mindset, AI, tech, and productivity. All right, so that would be my micro story. Just a short story that talks through transformation. I could talk to people about that at a networking event. Okay? So, when you're building a brand, all right, you don't have to push, but you just have to be consistent in telling those tiny, true stories that show that you get it. I've been doing this in the Power of One challenge. Like I said, over time, participation is went down. That's to be expected. I'm a leader, so it's my job to continue the course. So even if I'm all by myself, I'm going to continue the course because I understand that people have to see. They got to see it to believe it. And if they can't see it, they can't believe it. And that's just the truth. If they can't see it, they can't believe it. All right? So they need to see, and I have. I've struggled to post. I've got like 4 batched videos left. So I've got to carve out time and batch up another round of videos because I don't want to get too far behind. I think yesterday I posted well after 12. Been a couple days where I couldn't even post the group post till 12. So it hasn't been easy because, as you know, I still work full time. This week my kids will back to school, like all the things, right? Emotional things, heart things, mind things, all the things, right? But I'm really working every day to just make that small commitment. And it's my hope, whether you're participating in a challenge or not, doesn't matter, that you see that it's possible to keep going even when things feel hard or impossible. And on the other side of that, that you take the rest that you need, right? Because I took Monday off, and y'all know, those of you who've been with me a long time, you know, I don't like taking time off. I hate it. I don't like missing these walks. I don't think I've missed one purposely in probably a little over a month since my birthday, right? So keep that in mind. And those of you who lead your own schools, telling micro stories can help you be a better connector with your audience. All right? Drop a 1 in the chat if you've ever avoided posting because you didn't want to sound pushy. So drop a 1 in the chat if you feel like you're too pushy when you try to make a direct sale. Good morning, Totally Blessed Designs. Good morning. Put a 1 in the chat if you've ever avoided posting because you feel like you just sound money hungry, or you sound like all you're doing is begging. A lot of us feel that way. Here's the deal. Okay. It takes people 7 times and often months at a time before they will purchase. There are very few people that can get multiple purchases out of the same group of people over and over and over and over again. Okay? Right? So by the science, before someone makes a purchase, they're going to bring it, especially when it's dependent on the cost. So the higher priced offers, it's going to take people more time. So every time you avoid posting, you're removing a chance to reintroduce your offer. And what I want to present to you today is to try different strategies. It doesn't always have to be this hard sale. Tell people what you're going through. And it's not personal either. It doesn't have to be personal. You can tell them about your artistic challenges. So for my AI artists, tell them about the time that you just couldn't get the GPT to work. Or Midjourney, you hit a wall on Midjourney. Tell them about that. In the AI Fusions with Collaborations on Wednesdays, they show the art that's imperfect. They do it every Wednesday. They laugh at themselves. They laugh at the art. That's a good habit to be in. It's a great habit to be in, actually, because it lets your audience know that even though you may sell the very best you have to offer, you're no different than everyone else. Yeah, Wacky Wednesday. Yes, AI Fusion Collaborations, they do Wacky Wednesdays. All right? So just keep that in mind when you are telling your stories. They don't have to be personal. They don't have to be personal. They just have to be authentic. All right? So here's what I want you guys to do. I'm actually going to put this micro story formula. I'm going to put it in the school community. And what I want you guys to do is I want you to pick one thing and write a micro story. Maybe that micro story could be a carousel that you create. Maybe it's the first part of your Facebook comment and you tell the rest of the story in the comments below. Maybe it's a school post that you communicate to your school community. Talk about what's broken, guys. If you're always presenting perfection, you create an environment where people think that you need to strive for something that doesn't exist. It doesn't exist for me. And I have to assume perfection doesn't exist for you. So tell people the real deal. All right? I've grown since I've went once a day on Instagram every day. At great numbers. Am I going to have 1,000 new followers? Maybe, but I doubt it. Right? Could that be pretty normal for most people? Probably. But by telling that story, people can get to a place where they realize that they can do it too. All right? So that's your challenge. I'm going to put in the chat this framework. So don't worry about trying to remember it. Not in the chat, excuse me. I'm going to put it in the school community. So if you're not a part of the school community, go to my profile, join my school. Okay? Also, whether you're participating in the challenge or not, post something today about your business. Post something today. It won't hurt a thing. All right? Sales isn't about convincing. It really is about the connections you make. Your story could be the bridge between how a person feels and what's possible for them next. So tell it, then let them decide, okay? All right? That's my spiel for today. It's super short. I've got to get in a better habit of getting these calls to about 30 to 40 minutes. So I'm about 7 minutes shy of that. So that was the goal. Put a 1 in the chat if this conversation helped you at all today. Kind of think about how to show up in your business. Put a 1 in the chat if this conversation helped you at all today. We got a lot of people building schools. So I thought it would be a good time to talk a little bit about making sure you're showing up and being honest. Oh, man. Well, listen, this fall, we're going to start these lives at 8 a.m. Central, 9 a.m. Eastern, and 6 a.m. Pacific, and like 2 o'clock in the afternoon in London. Something like that. All right. So that's what we're going to do. We got to start telling more of our stories. It could be our business stories or our personal ones if showing up in your brand at a personal level is something that you do. Okay? Yep, 8 a.m. is what I think is going to work. Now that my kids are back to school, I've got a good bead on what time the bus is going to get here. So I'm going to give 8 a.m. a try. I've done all kinds of times. We've done 7:40, 7:15, 7:45. I always put ish at the end because life be lifing. But remember, it's always on YouTube. It's always on YouTube. So you can always plug in, listen to it podcast style, and join the conversation. Hey, good morning, Miss Karen. How are you? How you doing this morning? I'm glad to see your beautiful face. Good morning, good morning. Let me open my TikTok on a larger screen.
TikTok pays you if you reach 1,000 views.
Yeah, I know TikTok like to play loud. Let me see if I can see y'all a little bit better. Let's see. Oh, much better. I'm doing good. You're scheduled for 1:15 here today. You got to remember for yourself, oh Lord. Yes, I'm using an iPad to read the screen a little better, and I use my phone to run my live. 11, got it. But I'm using my iPad to read. Yeah, y'all just catch the replay. All right, last thing, because I'm going to slow this train down. I really appreciate you guys being here. Y'all give me the wind beneath my wings a lot of the times. You don't even know. You don't even know. Miss Karen, it's in my Amazon storefront. The tripod that I'm using, it's in my Amazon storefront. You can go take a look at it there. I really appreciate you guys being here. Like I said, it's been a rough couple of days, but I'm here. And no matter what happens, I'm going to be okay. And I'm glad I took some time to rest. Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate you guys too. All right, that's it for today. I think I hit 1 mile exactly. I'll take it. And we will be back Friday. All right, guys. Y'all have a great rest of your day. And Friday, we'll be back. We'll be celebrating wins, and we'll be talking about your micro stories. So y'all be prepared to talk about micro stories and how you can tell little stories from your business to make better connections to handle your soft sales. Bye, guys.